There he is.
Happy Valentine's Day, Ronna.
It's my funny Valentine.
It's
That's you.
my funny Valentine.
You're my funny Valentine.
Now, if anyone didn't see the live show, you would know that Ronna and I have already sung to each other.
Yeah. Well,
we did a full Nat King
We're
Cole.
not going to give it away for free now.
No, you're right. There's a musical number.
There's a reason why things cost things in this world. And one of the reasons is the show happens and either you're there or you're not there.
Yeah.
But boy, did we have a blast.
Boy, did we have fun. Ronna,
yeah.
Are you seeing certain someone tonight? Ooh.
Mr. Cleveland.
Yes. Is he going to reupholster your carpet, Ronna?
Excuse me?
No, I didn't mean it that way.
We could have a little fun today.
No, let's do it. I'm sorry, you're right. Let's
skip forward. This is a classic Cliffhangers rewind.
It's a classic Cliffhanger.
Is what this is.
But is he gonna redo anything in your bedroom or do anything in your bedroom?
I really wish you would stop asking questions about how he hangs my drapes or, what he does to my carpet or any, it's just the innuendo.
You're right. I don't even mean it that way. I know. I don't mean it that way. You're taking it that way.
Oh, just taking it wrong.
You're way too
then
sensitive.
I apologize to you. I owe you an apology. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're just saying, I'm sure you feel that way, but it's not true.
Correct.
Yeah. I apologize.
Correct.
I want to apologize to you. He wanted to fly in and take me to Contessa in the Newbury Hotel for dinner.
Yeah.
And I really just didn't think that was good enough. It's really more to me of a brunch place.
Holy crap.
And I also don't like to go to a place when they're having their Valentine night dinner.
I'm with you there. I'm with you there.
Yeah. So I said.
It's a little bit amateur hour.
Yeah. I said some other time. So I assumed you and I are going to spend time together tonight. Is that right?
I
thought we could rewatch season 3 of Emily in Paris.
Yeah,
which absolutely makes me. I'll tell you, there's no better. They should hire me. There's no better Valentine show than Emily in Paris. It makes you feel like you're 13.
Yeah,
it's absolute dumb, and you watch it and you think, I wonder if he'll call her.
I could watch it on the early side, Ronna. Like if you want to do a 5 p.m., 6 p.m. screening.
Well, and then what? So then we're going to get clam rolls or from Kelly's, or what do you want to do? Because I do love, you know what I wouldn't mind? Let's put on a cashmere Laura Piano Swats.
Okay, that's only one of us.
Let's watch Emily in Paris. Mm-hmm. We'll send Yadvina out to pick up the clam strips and the shoestring onion rings from Kelly's, which I love.
Yeah, as long as we're done by like 7:38.
She'll have to get them there hot because I'm not eating them if not hot. Though we could probably air fry them to bring them back a little if we need to revive them a little bit.
Oh, sure. I told you to get a Ninja. I don't know what you ended up getting.
Absolute. What's a Ninja? Is that the thing Cody Rigsby was using? Does it look like a bucket?
Yeah, sort of.
He made some kind of fried chicken in a bucket. He was talking. Well, somebody tagged him because he was on our show, and then the next day he was giving love advice in his apartment while he air fried chicken. And somebody said, "How dare you give advice without mentioning Ask Ronna that you were just on?"
You were just on it, Cody. And by the way, my packages have not arrived.
Really?
Yeah, Ronna. Look, as long as we're wrapped up by 7:38, it won't be a problem.
Anyway, this is. What do you mean? I'm going to do a marathon. We're going to watch the whole season. And season 4 of Foud is out now, too, so we can watch that and we can have our own little Arab-Israeli conflict like we always do.
Well, I have an appointment tonight.
Oh, you have plans? What were you going to do?
Huh. Have I talked to you about Auden? Not Arden.
W.H. Auden?
Like W.H. Auden?
Oh, no. What about him?
You know Shuby's, the place?
Do I know Showbiz?
Yeah. Well, so I was checking out recently.
I'm practically their spokesmodel.
I was buying a lot of celery because I tried to do this.
Why is Lisa Rinna at Fashion Week? Who invited
she's
her?
Always there. I don't know.
No, she's not always there. She's never been invited to anything real in her life.
She's there.
So, Showbiz.
So I was trying to do the celery juice diet, but I got too tired of it.
Oh, you're not on celery juice, are you? You're 2 years late for that.
I was for a day, Ronna, and I got to tell you.
Oh, it's appalling and revolting.
I will never do it again. But
and there isn't enough celery in the world.
At the time.
For that diet.
At the time, I was doing the celery diet, okay? Uh-huh. And I was buying a lot of celery, and there was someone at the cashier. She's drinking a Dr. Brown's cream soda. Meanwhile, I'm drinking my gorgeous coffee.
I'm having my treat, my Valentine
I have that
treat.
stuff too, by the way. Anyway, I was checking out, And there was a really interesting...
Ow!
No, Auden. His name's Auden.
Hit my elbow on the desk.
Ronna. The point is this. I was checking out. We always have a little joke about celery stalks and what they remind me of. You know what? They remind him of, this cashier and I. So that's sort of funny. Like someone who hasn't trimmed their bush and then you have the stalk. Well, whatever. Anyway, he came up with the joke and I thought it was really funny.
Appalling
No,
it
isn't, Ronna. Anyway, and then you're going to die when you hear this. I was driving down right by the driftwood and I saw someone with they had like a little plumber's crack, but it was nice crack. And they were working on a car.
Is that something you fruit say to each other, nice crack?
Constantly. And so I pulled over because I was like, I'm going to get a better look at this crack. It's the same cashier.
Oh.
Auden.
Cashier.
He's also a mechanic. Ronna. He's both. So
how old is he?
He's a little bit younger than me.
40?
How dare you, first of all. No, Ronna, he happens to be 26, okay?
Oh. 26?
He happens. And by the way, he's very, very ambitious. Like I said, he has not one job but two. And we had sort of thought about, I don't know, last time we were together, I watched him play. Have you ever heard of Elden Ring?
I have barely heard of Lord of the Rings.
Well, okay. Elden Ring's like a game. And anyway, he would sort of, during a break in the game, he would kind of switch his head over to the side and stick out his tongue and we would make out. And then he would go back to the game and back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So I said, he asked if I wanted to hang out again. And I said, of course I do, except I don't want you to play a video game this time because it was just too messy.
Okay, well, you know what? Go have a blast with W.H. Auden.
With Auden.
My only question for you is, does he get an employee discount at Shoebies?
He does get an employee discount.
Because I've got to have more. That chicken salad, the prices are through the roof on the chicken salad right expensive. Now. But I can't live without it.
And listen, all I want to say about this is he does lack the maturity and sensitivity of the lobsterman. Like that's obvious right out the gate.
You find yourself longing for Winthrop.
Well, it's just a different thing. It's like, it's wine versus Zima. You know what I mean? So it's just different.
Which do you prefer, Zima or wine?
I don't know. Honestly,
I mean, the lobsterman's $2 chuck. He's not wine. He's just grapes that have turned.
Fine. Do you know I told you that the lobsterman's mother egged my car, right? Dolores?
Yes. Those people.
I know.
I mean, of course.
Anyway, if you want, though, maybe he could come watch Emily in Paris with us. Auden, I mean.
And then I definitely don't want, but I appreciate the offer. I definitely don't want.
Well, I'll let you know how it goes, and maybe the two of us can get in our pajamas when I come back, and we can talk all about my date.
It's all fine. I'll already be in my pajamas, my PJs. I'll be wearing my new cocoon sweater from Laura Piana, and I'll be wrapped right up in that absolutely exquisite throw that I bought from Edith. Edith over at Laura Piana in Boston. And
I know Edith.
This throw, we've talked about it.
She doesn't even look at me.
But this is my Temple Grandin. I mean, I could be screaming my head off at you, and if you threw this thing on me like Spider-Man with a web,
your heartbeat would settle
settle right down to 74.
Yeah.
Yep. I would go straight from through the roof to resting heartbeat the second it gets Spider-Man onto my body.
Dante just chatted us and said that he's the same age as Auden. Well, Dante.
So is he making a pass at you?
I don't know what he's doing, but Dante, I don't mix work with pleasure. Dante just make a pass at you? I don't mix work with pleasure, okay?
Dante, do you play Elden Ring?
Do you play Elden Ring, Dante?
Elden Ring?
No. That is a cursed game.
Wait, why? Why?
No, Dante, why? It's about elves. What's it about?
You're making fun of it, Ronna.
It's one of those, isn't it like the sequel to Skyrim? It's one of those Middle Earth games.
It is
that you sink like 100 hours into.
You should see some of the stuff in his closet, though. He's very inventive with like some of the cosplay and stuff.
Middle Earth. It's one of those Middle Earth games.
Yeah.
Speaking of Middle Earth.
Yes.
We really dug deep into the mantle and core of this show.
Manticore.
In order to get our hands on some fabulous Valentine's classic cliffhangers.
It's so True. And today's classic Cliffhangers is all about love.
It has
which
to
is
be.
A Valentine's theme, of course. We were spreading the love today.
Some people are lucky. Some people not so much. We're going to do a little recap of some of our favorite cues, and then we're going to let you hear them. And then if you're smart, you'll join us on patreon.com/AskRonna, because really, what are you waiting for?
And if you're really smart, you'll join us every month at the Kiki at arsocial.club. And if you have any brain cells in you, you will follow us on Instagram. And you will rate and review this podcast.
Don't write to us unless you're going to give us your Instagram handle. And I mean that.
We check.
Very, very clearly. Doesn't mean we have to say it on the show, but it sure does mean that we're going to check.
Mm-hmm.
All right, dear. Kick it off.
This first one is from Patreon 120 that was called Ménage-à-Doormat. Love it. And for those of you who don't remember, this was the guy who agreed to open up his relationship with his partner, and everything really went off without a hitch.
It always does.
Which, by the way, of course it didn't. It was a disaster.
I'll never forget the 4 guys to a bed. I wish we should include them in every Cliffhanger episode.
We absolutely should. I'll never forget that either.
In my life.
But instead of having an open relationship, this boyfriend of the guy who wrote in started sleeping with what he called a masc tormentor, like masculine.
He was like an ex-military guy.
Straight acting military guy named Derek. And his boyfriend and Derek started hanging out more, and it was more than just sex, almost they were dating.
They went to brunch, as I recall.
They went to brunch. So the letter writer was very upset over this relationship going where it was going.
Yeah.
And he was wondering, should he leave his boyfriend to spend his days with straight acting Derek, or try to take control and fix this relationship? And by the way, the letter writer signed the letter Menage-a-Blah, but we changed it to Menage-a-Doormat. So here, listen to this.
That'll give you a little hint to how we felt about this. Dearest Ronna and Bryan, I write to you with a quandary of, by the way, here we are, 98 minutes into the podcast. I haven't even mentioned the social club. I hate to tell you something.
Usually we would do that after the cliffhanger, but let's do it now.
We will after the cliffhanger, but I'm just going to tell you it's a runaway hit.
The comments we've been getting, people are so excited about arsocial.club. They can't.
Please don't. Please stop. Please stop saying that. Themselves. When I posted it the other day, I had to put 2 URL. I'm saying I can't,
Yeah. Well, really arsocialclub.com takes you there, but if you really want to be edgy, arsocial.club.
People are saying it looks like ass, and that's making me upset.
Well, that's not even how you spell arse.
No, that's what I thought. But you know what it really is? Ajant stopped drinking after COVID.
Oh, so now he's like trying to make you resent
So he's upset that he can't be part of the club.
Yeah.
He's had, whatever, for health reasons, he stopped drinking, not for his mental health. Well, I would say good for him, but he's obviously not happy about it because he's upset that he can't join the club.
Well.
And so he wants to know, can he just come to the Kiki? And my answer is, if you want to tick the box where you pay for the club, but you don't get the package, then that's fine. Yeah. Or if you want to send your package to someone else, I'm willing to do that.
You know what? Argent and his
somebody gifts it to someone else, they can come to the Kiki.
Wait, which person comes to the Kiki?
The person who paid for it can come to the Kiki.
What about the person who gets it?
No, they can come too. I'm saying if you buy it for somebody else, I'll let you come as a plus one.
Whether you're the gifter or the receiver.
It's a day pass. It's a day pass.
I like that.
So if you buy it for somebody else, write to me at askronna@gmail.com.
No, but honestly, Ronna, people are so excited about it.
It's not my problem that Ajant can't participate in absolutely everything, but he doesn't have to take it out on our Instagram.
No, he doesn't. But he will.
I write to you with a quandary of the heart, and although I'll try to keep it brief, I've been known to support a G-string when I'm feeling extra cheeky. That's their word. My boyfriend of 4 years and I have had a really beautiful relationship with recent highlights, including the purchase of a home and the building of a bucolic, friend-filled life here in Boston. Excuse me. That is, up until a couple of weeks ago, around June 20. I wonder if he wears his G-string to the Chandler Inn. That's the spot. Oh, the old dirty dog spot is what that is. It's a real bear
Or if he's ever done the Freedom Trail with it on.
Uh-huh. But secretly under his jeans.
Underneath, covert. The
under
British
his
are coming.
Assful chaps. That is up until a couple of weeks ago. Okay, so this is fresh. Around June 2021, we decided to open up our relationship. Buckle up, Bryan. After a few, and guess what? It all went perfectly. The only people I know who have a perfect open relationship are those dirty dogs who sleep on an 8-person bed together.
Oh, the ones who are in the quadruple?
Yeah. In a quadruple.
And they sleep in one bed together?
What's a quadruple? What do you call that?
I don't know what you call it. Thruple, quadruple? I don't know.
After a few years together, where are they? I want an update.
I actually know people who do them successfully, the open relationship.
Okay. But I'm saying it's not without its bumps, is all I'm saying.
Well, you have to be rock fucking solid to do that.
It's a new frontier. So new rules, new boundaries, new this is okay with me, this isn't okay with me.
Yeah.
It's just a new era. After a few years together and the weathering of a pandemic, we saw this as a chance to explore a different dynamic, and it actually pushed us to be better communicators and really examine what we need in our relationship. It was all going smoothly. Sure. I won't get into the specifics of our rules. Why not? Why do they always leave out the best part?
I know.
I made a chocolate cake. I won't tell you what kind of chocolate.
Yeah, I hate that.
Jerks.
I hate that one. So we went to go see a movie and then they don't tell you what the movie was.
Yeah, and then my mother killed herself, but that's not important. Let's get to the part where I told you I'm having trouble walking my dog.
Right. Exactly.
I won't get into the specifics of our rules, but it was pretty much, let's just hook up with other people once in a while, nothing deeper than surface level. Okay. 9 months of growth and explorations. Cue the entry of a masked tormentor, spelled MASC''D, masculine. Is that what that means?
Exactly.
What is masked? What is that word?
Masculine. Yeah. Like, have you ever heard the expression like on apps, a lot of times it'll say like mask, looking for mask, or looking for mask, meaning someone wants a masculine man.
Oh, yes. On all my apps. That's
it's
what
like sort of.
What life
It's actually an upsetting term. It's obnoxious. What'd you say?
I don't like it, mask.
I don't either.
Yeah.
Too close to musk.
Ugh.
Yeah.
The smell of this whole letter is too much.
Looking for musk, by the way, is probably what a lot of people have written.
You should invent mask. That's our next product.
I am shocked it isn't out there.
Through the roof. Cue the entry of a masked tormentor. Call him Derek. Derek.
What?
How dare this person?
I guess I forgot about this part.
Derek is in the military and is straight acting, to say the least.
That's another thing that turns people on.
Bragging about guns and pussy. Excuse me, I can't believe I had to say that word. As Gaga blasts through the speakers of the gay bar. What does that mean? I don't even know what that means. Without discuss, so he's bi.
So he's like, no, just this is a thing that turns people on where they're straight acting. Like guys get turned on by people who are straight acting, even if they're
they
gay.
Want to be with a straight. They want to flip a straight guy, but this
guy's not straight because he's in the gay bar.
I'm very confused though. So
it's almost like a role play thing, Ronna.
I understand, but for the straight acting guy, how does that scratch his itch? I guess he gets the itch for the guy that wants to be with a straight guy.
Mm-hmm.
But how does it scratch for the itch for the guy?
Well, it might be like a domination thing, like a not literal domination, but just this sort of sub thing where it's sort of like it's a fantasy, maybe.
Right, but it feels, I guess, okay. It feels a little bit flip.
Here we go again with the flip flops. Flip flops and a wedding dress.
To be fair to all of them, none of them wore flip flops. I was saying the only way you could walk in a place like that is if you had flip flops.
Sure, yeah.
Flats.
Yeah.
Anyway. Anyway, someone's already typing click, clack on their board to explain this whole situation to me, which I've already forgotten about. But I think
it's sort of a fantasy for both parties.
Yes, I'm just confused because the person who's doing the acting, you would think that person was sort of the more extroverted personality, screaming around the bar about. And aren't the other people sitting next to you sort of turning around saying, why is he talking about, that? But I guess not.
I guess not. Probably the music's loud.
So this is what you do, huh? Scream about PUSSY.
I go into bars and I scream. That's right, Ronna.
This pup is panting. That's why you said it. Okay.
That's right.
Without discussing it with me, my boyfriend and this man rented a hotel room, and before and after their romp, got drinks together. We all then met up. I was not eager to meet this guy, but was already uncomfortable with the situation and needed to put out my feelers. Okay. We went to the club with a group of friends, but I left early, assuming my boyfriend would Uber home. Why on earth would you assume that? Mm-hmm. He'd already had a, afternoon delight and 3 rounds of drinks with this guy.
Right.
My boy and had already paid for a hotel room.
Well, the rules.
My boyfriend then stayed the night with this man and, to add insult to injury, got brunch with him the next morning. Wow.
Yeah.
So that's a weekend.
Exactly. That is, by the way, this is what I mean with straight acting versus this guy was not straight. He was straight acting.
He was so straight.
Yeah,
he had a bottomless
mimosas tomorrow.
Yeah. Next morning at one of our frequent date spots. Whoa. Oh. Well, how big is this town?
That's true.
None of this is even close to what we had agreed upon in becoming open. Yeah, he was having a whirlwind romance. He was having a before sunset or before after sunrise or before sunrise or after sunset. However it works, he was having one.
Yeah.
He was Julie Delpy.
Exactly.
Afterwards, I communicated that I would not like my boyfriend to see this man anymore. He then hung out with him the next Saturday. I then decided to leave town to visit my parents for 9 days and get some space to reflect and let my absence make this heart grow fonder. While I was out of town, they hung out again. Sadly, they aren't even liaising. They're doing things like getting tea. The scandal of that. Or going for walks. My God, Bryan.
I mean, this is
bad. Well, I already know what I think. my shtetl antennae already.
What, that his boyfriend's Maggie Smith?
No.
Tea and walks?
Well, there's open relationship and there's dating someone else. Those are not the same things. You agreed that you could sleep with other people. You didn't agree.
And that your open relationship would be sexual only.
Yes, not an emotional open relationship. Exactly. You didn't agree that someone could just go date someone else. You agreed that someone could sleep with someone else. So this really isn't an open relationship. This is called cheating. In the open is what this is called. Mm-hmm. Having an affair. They're having an affair. This is an affair. What we're reading here is an affair. Well, I was out of town. They hang out again. Okay, Sadly, I've seen texts from my boyfriend saying, I can't stop thinking about you. And even after telling this man himself that they are both overstepping, it seems neither will listen to how hurt I am or simply don't even care. Of course they don't. They're in love.
I was going to say, this is like infatuation. Yeah.
Yes. So friends, I have proved the straights right in the open relationships. What? So friends, okay. Have I proven the straights right in that open relationships are inherently messy?
Have I proven the straights right? Like in that open relationships, yeah.
Boy, oh boy, I have to learn how to read all over again. Maybe I just had a stroke. So friends, have I proven the straights right in that open relationships are inherently messy? Well, in fairness to me, there's absolutely no discernible punctuation here that could lead to that kind of reading.
I'm with you.
Or have I simply exposed an inevitable fissure in my relationship that would have reared its head regardless? Ooh. I really want to work through this with my boyfriend, but after 3 instances of this, I'm tempted to throw him to the closeted army brat and let him live out his very emotionally stunted fantasy. Well, you don't have to tempt him. He's already doing it in your face. It has really done a number on my self-esteem. I'm very much a happy gay man, but in some weird way, knowing that all of my self-work throughout the years may not scratch the itch of my boyfriend's needs, even if those needs are emerging from a place of self-loathing, is a very hot and lonely pill to swallow. Thank you so much for all of your generosity, XX, ménage-à-trois. I'm very much not sure if submitting through messages is the way to go. Let me know if email is easier. Also, if you need to change the name Derek, please feel free. I find Ronna's joking with Bryan and Derek to be hilarious, but also understand if it's not kosher for a letter. Ha ha. Then he writes in a follow-up message, also realizing Army brat isn't a nice thing to say. So if this does get chosen, feel free to say Army boy.
Why are you being so nice to him?
Well, I think we already got to the root of the problem here. Welcome. This should be signed Menage-a-Doormat.
Menage-a-Doormat. I'm with you. This honestly, Ronna, I want to hear your take on this.
Well, you're mad, so you better get hopped.
I'm not mad. It's heartbreaking to me. It just is. It's so sad. stuff ends. And I'm not saying this is ending. I'm just saying like, it's just sad when this is so stupid. It just is sad when people get hurt and they feel like they can't do anything about it.
Well, also when people hurt people is what's awful. Because why? I'm not saying that there's always an elegant exit, but I think one of the things, if I could go back and tell my younger self, I don't, so that's what, 2-3 years,
Sure.
But this person, I don't know how old they are, but I don't think they're very old.
No,
I think they're 32 tops is what I think they are.
Well, they bought a home. So yeah, I would say 30s probably. Yeah.
It's cruel and disrespectful what your boyfriend is doing. And if there's something I could go back and tell myself, it would be that cruelty is never an acceptable option. There's always another way. You're allowed, look, people go through these moments, as you said, infatuation. It happens to people. You get carried away, you're infatuated with another person, whatever it is, and you make bad decisions. But you always know, there's always a voice in the back of your head that's saying, this isn't really fair to Derek or Jerry. We'll call him Jerry for the purposes of this conversation. I know he thinks I'm coming home. I know I should text him and say I'm coming, but I don't want but also this is all mixed up for that guy because that's part of the thrill of what's going on here too. And I can tell you right now, if you walk out on these two, either it's going to be over in a month because there's no
this is a flame that's burning pretty bright. Yeah.
Or it's going to be over in a month because it's going to be over in a month. But you're still left with the same damage that was done, which is that your boyfriend, who's so fabulous that you want to stay together with, is an asshole. This is asshole behavior. And I very rarely swear.
I was going to say.
This guy is acting like a schmuck. And he's being a jerk to you. And it's not nice. And it's not what you agreed on. And you don't have to stand for it just because you're hoping everything will come back together. Yeah. And you don't have to care about army brats' feelings. And you don't have to care. You don't have to care about anyone in this equation anymore. They have released you from that when they decided to flaunt this. And also, what's going on with this boy?
So
this boyfriend is also telling himself, "Oh, we said we were going to be open, so we're going to be honest." That's part of the open relationship. Part of our deal is I say to you, "I think I'm going to go home with this guy," or whatever it is, however you set it up. But I think I'm going to have brunch with this guy.
Also, isn't part of the deal that when you say, "Hey, I don't like this. This is a different thing," it should end.
Yes, but that's not what's going on here.
That's not what's going on, but that I'm sure is one of the rules. Or if it's not, it's an unspoken one for sure. That's sort of like, hey, when I get uncomfortable with something, when you're crossing a line and I say enough and you say no.
You're saying this isn't what we agreed to. And he's saying, whether he's saying it with his words or his behavior, I don't care.
I don't care.
I want this and I don't care.
Yep.
And people make these look, okay. A movie star came to town, this army guy taking him around and, having mimosas with him and then slapping him around behind a barrel. I don't know what's going on between these two, but something explosive is happening. They're having a great time together.
Yeah.
But it's everyone who's involved with it knows it's wrong, but they're doing it anyway. They're selfish and they deserve this and they've talked themselves into it and ba, 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 ba. And this is also sometimes, I don't know what's else is going on in the relationship. You say it's been going great and it may well have. This can happen where people have chemistry with people and they just say, F it, you live once and I'm going to do whatever I want and let the chips fall where they may. But if there's something else going on in the relationship where this guy felt, this is also what people sometimes do to destroy relationships, to break them up. Mm-hmm. Self-destructive behavior at the end of a relationship. And that's how they do it. They just explode it instead of having a 20-minute, very uncomfortable conversation where they say, I don't know what to tell you. I know it's not what we agreed on, but it's what I feel like doing. And I'm sure that hurts your feelings and I'm sorry. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to move out for 3 days, whatever it is. But who would do that? Because then all the fun's gone. Yeah. There's no sneaking around anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Jerk City, USA. That's where this guy's from.
Total Jerk City.
And you're from Doormat City, USA. I'm sorry I called him an army brat. What do you care about him?
I know. He doesn't care about you. None of these people.
No, you know what he did? He walked into your house and he ate out of your dog dish.
What I want to know is this, though. What has the boyfriend, I don't remember who's Derek in this situation.
Derek's not with us anymore because I wouldn't do that to Derek.
Well, fine.
I have too much respect for the real Derek.
I know you do, right? Derek is a prince in your eyes. You know, Derek's
I know he's not perfect, but I do like him.
There's something about him, isn't there?
He's got a nice way.
Honestly, I'll be honest with you. I'm very lucky to have had Derek in my life.
He's a lovely person.
He's a lovely person.
Look, he may not have been the thing, but yeah, he's a nice, loving guy, and he's good to Sherman.
Exactly.
Yeah, and he's easy on the eyes.
And the other...
Handsome. He's handsome.
Yeah, it was nice to be in a relationship where sort of like both of us could look at each other and be so attracted to each other. You know what I mean?
Think we're both hot stuff here.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, that was Nick and Jessica, 2 5s equal.
Every day we thought that. We would be like, we're Nick and Jessica, we're so hot. We did it all the time. But my question is, I just want to know what his boyfriend has been saying.
Yeah, what does he have to say about this?
What does he have to say? Yeah, or what have you... I guess all I'm saying is it seems so strange and horrible to me that someone would say, stop seeing this person, and that the other person would say no. I'm just wondering if the letter writer is thinking and not saying a lot of this.
Mm-hmm. Good point.
Because I think if you're just thinking it and not saying it, or if you think he should know better or he should know, believe me, I have learned that you have to say it exactly what you mean and what you want. And so, because I just can't imagine, this is like sociopathic behavior that someone would be like, sorry.
Afterwards, I communicated that I would not like my boyfriend to see this man anymore. Okay. He then hung out with him the next Saturday.
All right.
So then I left town and he didn't care.
That's awful. That's awful.
The boyfriend is going through something. It doesn't mean he's a terrible person, but his actions are not acceptable and they're not nice. And that is the most important thing here. This goes for everyone's listening to this right now saying, oh, I'm so glad this isn't me. But the other thing they're hearing is, I've been there. Because everyone has been there. And my advice for everyone listening who's been there or is about to be there and has been Jerry and has been the other guy and has been the letter writer, because everybody's been on almost every side of this equation. Though mostly if you're ménage-à-trois, you're the doormat, you're not the shoe.
Right.
But please, I can't impart this enough to people. What does it take for you to stop for a moment and just imbue your actions with a little bit of kindness? Mm-hmm. And I'm not talking about you have to hold the door for every person that walks through the door of the Chestnut Hill Mall. But and stand there with the door for 2 hours. But I'm saying, when you know you're doing something naughty or not quite right or whatever, or you're ready for something to end or whatever it is, take a moment, take a breath, think about the fact that this person, even if they are no longer as important to you or they don't have the prime position in your life in the way that they did, that you spent this time together, that you have been kind to each other, I hope. And say to yourself, how can it's going to take a little gumption on my part.
Right.
But how can I do this in such a way that with the least amount of damage? We know it's going to hurt, but how do I do this without insulting, unnecessarily hurting, saying things that don't need to be said, whatever it is, just because you feel, I've had enough. Shame on you. It's not nice.
It isn't nice.
Be nice.
It isn't nice. And you could, like you just said, Ronna, you could do things like break up with people in a way that maybe the other person doesn't want to hear it. And maybe it will be difficult no matter what. There's a way to do it respectfully. And
you can live with yourself afterwards.
Exactly.
And instead, what the people do who do it poorly, they can't live with themselves. So what they do is then they go on a journey of getting mad at you and diminishing you. And remembering everything that happened that you ever, I always told him, don't leave a dish in the sink, and he would leave dishes in the sink. It's like, okay, well, he also paid for getting your car fixed.
Right.
So get out of here. But also enough with the accounting.
You gotta get over that
the
fast.
Fries. That's what that is. I didn't have the fries, and I can't take responsibility.
Who cares? Everyone made choices that, you gotta get over that.
Take the good, take stock of where you are in your life, and try to move forward with a little bit of grace, because guess what? You will be able to put it to bed so much quicker.
Yeah.
But this messy guy is going to come knocking and want to go back to the relationship. And I have bad news for a letter writer who, I have to say, sounds like a very sweet, sensitive person. So, we're calling you a doormat. The truth is, you're a nice guy.
Yeah. What doormat wears a G-string?
And that you thought, sexy doormat.
I love it.
And you thought that you were both mature enough to do this thing and that everybody could enjoy that a little bit, and learned that. But again, I want to say, this is not an open relationship. This is an affair. Those are different things.
For sure.
These were not what you agreed to. And I'm not saying this is what happens, because I don't think it is necessarily what happens. This is what happened in this case. But you need to understand that no matter what he comes back with, I don't believe, I could be wrong, it's a discussion for you and your therapist or your mother or whoever. I don't believe you're going to forget what he did. I don't believe you can live with it. He can probably live with it. I don't think you can.
Especially without his accountability for it and being like, I don't know what happened. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Like, there is a world in which...
please. He's going to rub his feet for 2 weeks, then he's going to do it again.
I was going to say, there is a world in which this guy recognizes that he did something, whatever, and then you can move forward from that. But first, he'd have to really believe that,
Yeah, that's going to take some repair.
Yeah.
But this doesn't
repairing
feel like
the
that
fissure,
to me, because this is all out in the open. You're going to have to repair the fissure.
Repair the fissure. Disgusting. Ron, I got to say, you hit it on the head. There's absolutely a difference between an open relationship and dating someone else. Those are different things. This is cheating. This is not open.
There you go. I mean, what are you going to do here? Anyway, I absolutely stand by what we said here. And I also would like to issue a general apology to the Carriage House for using the P word.
That's okay, Ronna.
It just shows my age.
Yeah, sure. It's very D-class-A.
Yeah, very D-class-A.
D-class-A.
Now, this next one was from Patreon 124, Fresno Feelings. Remember this?
No, but it sounds awful.
Okay, this was incredible. The setting, Fresno, California.
What a place. Gorgeous.
John Steinbeck's Dust Bowl. The setting, the Grapes of Wrath.
Wonderful.
In any event, the letter writer Danny had met a guy named Gennaro on Grindr, right? But they kept it innocent. They were friends, no dates, not a few kisses here.
A few kisses.
Yeah. Then after Gennaro moved away to work on a farm, as I said, Grapes of Wrath.
Yes, that is the great.
By the way, this could be a porno.
It might be.
And then everyone could check everyone's cracks out. There could be a line where he says, "Great crack."
Yeah. I mean,
does anyone ever say that about it? And someone else's tush? Oh, I love this guy so much. His crack is like crack.
I say it all the time, Ronna. Great crack.
You ever say his crack is like crack? It's like total crack.
I've never said it that way, but I should start.
I don't know why. Wasn't that
I
so
sort of just say,
fun?
I sort of just say like, this guy has the best crack I've ever seen in my life. Yeah.
But wasn't that so fun when that whole trend of everyone referring to things that were delicious as like crack?
It was so fun.
It was so socially responsible and
fun. It really was.
I loved that. I used to say it all the time. I'd be like,
me too.
Oh, this La Mer lip balm, it's like crack.
My dad one time yelled at me because I said something was to die for, and he goes, "Don't ever say that."
Because he thought you were inviting the evil eye.
Yeah, exactly.
That was where his little Lebanese.
That's the old world.
Yes, the old world crawled out of his new world body and gotcha right there. He said you're inviting the evil eye. Yep. Well, in a weird way, he was saying how much he loved you. He didn't want the evil eye
see that
upon
now.
you. Do you wear a hamsa? Does anyone in your family wear a hamsa?
Every minute.
Really?
No one does.
Danny went back on Grindr and hooked up hot and heavy with Tony, okay?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
He happens to be none other than Gennaro's brother.
Gennaro's brother.
So he had a little flingaroo with Danny. It never really went anywhere, but he liked him. Then he ended up sleeping with Danny's brother. Sleeping with Gennaro's brother, Danny. Mm-hmm. He didn't feel right about it. So wait a second. I got it all wrong. He hooked up with Tony, who was Gennaro's brother.
He hooked up with Tony. He only kissed Gennaro. Kissed Gennaro.
So then Gennaro moves back to town, okay, after working on the farm, which was very good to his body, apparently, especially his arms.
Excuse me.
Gennaro calls Danny, a letter writer, who had already slept with Tony, his brother, for a date. This time, Danny wants to move things further. He's ready to get together with this guy. But is it the right thing to do after hooking up with Tony, who had told Danny to keep their sex a secret?
Ooh.
Anyway,
the stakes are high on this.
I don't really know if it was in Fresno, but my shtetl told me that this was some sort of shtetl, some sort of Fresno situation. Anyway, let's listen. Please read Naomi's question now.
Okay. You know what, Ronna? I'm going to break it down for you really simple.
Giggle, giggle.
You better.
What does he say? What did I say he says when he steals the burgers again?
Oh, no. What was it?
There was
so
something
good.
I said that he says when
Write in if you know.
I can't remember what it was, but he had a little saying where rabba, 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 rabba.
It was something like that. And now I forgot how I was going to curse you out. Now I can't remember what I was going to say.
I've got Hamburglar energy today. Okay.
You do. You are, as you
Naomi's
would put it,
the podcast burglar. She's the podcast burglar. She's like the cuckoo bird that we talk about that floats into people's nests.
I don't know what I would do without my maturity and my self-confidence. I don't know what I would do. I mean,
I hope I did. You said you were being so scented confident lately. I hope I didn't centralize you.
Not at all. Not at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not at all. I'm going to need, though, if the blinds are shut over here for a few days, I don't need a knock. Got it? Dear Ronna.
Read the GD question.
Dear Ronna, Bryan, and Nigella Lawson.
She would be a great guest.
I got it. She's a Ronna.
Let's get her.
She really
Put
is.
her on the list. Put her on the list.
I appreciate all of you. You can call me Danny. About 7 years ago.
Is it your name?
Yeah, good question.
Okay.
About 7 years ago, I met Gennaro. Or Gennaro, I'm not sure which.
Gennaro.
We both moved to the same small town at around the same time. Grindr did its magic, and we met. We hit it off while keeping things innocent. Lots of sushi dates, Thai, playing cards in bars, spending a good portion of time in that space that's more intimate than friendship, but not intimate enough to define the relationship as anything stronger. Although there were goodnight kisses after drinks on a couple of occasions. I kissed him, but I was too chicken shit to pursue him any more than that. He made it clear he would be receptive to something more, but I hesitated. The timing wasn't right, maybe. I didn't have a clear reason not to go for him. I just hesitated. I started working early mornings at a bakery, and he moved about 40 minutes away to work on a farm. We lost touch, and just like that, everything.
Rural gaze.
I was going to say, this is a rural situation.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you think it's an American situation?
Yeah.
Okay. We lost touch. And
I'm getting Fresno feelings.
You know what? I was picturing Fresno. I'm not even kidding you.
Yeah.
We lost touch, and just like that, everything fizzled. Cut to a year ago, I go on Grindr and meet Gennaro's younger brother, Tony. We smoked, watched Point Break. I want to know what you smoked.
Cool.
Yeah, true. I hope it wasn't cigarettes, honestly.
No, they smoked. What are you, nuts? They smoked marijuana, some kind of indica sativa combination.
Got it.
Yeah.
We smoked, watched Point Break, which I love, and had sex. I didn't feel right about it and haven't spent time with Tony since.
Sounds like a pretty fun night.
It does. Now we're up to date. Last week, Gennaro reached out and said he's in town. We met for Thai, which was the first time we'd seen each other in 3 years. The farm work has been good to him. His arms especially. God damn. That initial hesitation is gone, and I'm ready to push up on this guy hard. Before that happens, I thought I should get some perspective on this and ask, am I out of line? Would that be inappropriate? Tony asked me not to mention the sex to Gennaro, so I haven't. However, Gennaro does know Tony met me through Grindr. So we could very well infer something happened. I don't know. Perhaps the damage is done and I should back off altogether. Please, I would love to hear some thoughts on this mess I've made. For context, I'm in my early 30s, Gennaro's in his early 40s, and Tony is in the 37 area. Thank you, Danny. Names have been changed. Hello, Danny.
Poor Danny. He's so desirable.
Oh, Danny boy. You like a man more because he has better arms.
Yeah.
That's what we call gay riffraff.
Okay.
Superficial.
He dated the brother. They didn't go anywhere. Then he grinded the other brother.
Yeah.
But he promised the grinded brother he wouldn't tell him that they slept together, which means that the other brother knows it's not a question of whoops, no, but I didn't tell him I ever met his brother.
Right.
He just thinks nothing happened between them.
Does he think that? Did Danny say nothing happened between us? Because he also said he might have inferred something did happen.
Yes, but the other brother told him not to say anything.
Right. Right. So the brother probably said, oh, we met, nothing happened. You're right.
Okay. Here's what you do.
Yeah.
You go have a date with Gennaro.
Yeah.
You do your best not to sleep with him on this date.
Yeah, don't.
You just see if there's something there between you.
Because I got to be honest with you. I don't think the arms take someone from wanting to be in a relationship, not wanting to be in a relationship, to suddenly wanting to be in a relationship. So I would connect with him first.
Yeah, I'm suggesting you find out if Gennaro's relationship material or whether you're just going to sleep with him. Exactly.
Totally.
If he's relationship material, you reach out to Tony and you say, look, we had fun. Who cares? Whatever you say to him. But I am thinking about,
I'm going to this San Gennaro festival.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't feel right not disclosing to him that that something happened between us. If you really think you really want to give it a good go,
that it's worth maybe upsetting the apple cart for a minute or two. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Tony says, oh, but then my brother's going to be mad at me because he always had feelings for you. Da, 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 da. And I think you sort of say the facts, the facts.
Yeah.
Nothing happened between us after that. So your brother shouldn't be upset. Whether or not you should have stepped out with someone that your brother stepped out with is water under the bridge now. And I just feel I have to be open with him about this. I can't, because really then otherwise you have this festering lie. But I think you have to have a couple of dates with Gennaro and hopefully not sleep with him. You've already slept with him, so you know you're attracted to him or you're not or whatever that is. But see if it's really a relationship thing. And if it isn't, it doesn't matter who you slept with. You could sleep with their father too if you want to. It's no one's business. If all you're doing is sleeping around.
Was when he really started to like Elaine and they were dating for real, not telling her. That was this big mistake.
Wait, what?
Sorry, Benjamin Braddock from The Graduate. Once he realized that he was really into Elaine and was falling in love with her, you got to say something.
Yes, though he was such an unstable character. I don't know whether he was sleeping with Elaine to get to the mother or whether, I don't really know.
That movie leaves a lot of questions in a really good way.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's true. Yeah, I was thinking of Benjamin Bratt, and then I wondered if he had played a character on Seinfeld that I couldn't recall where he went out with Elaine. That's how my brain went.
I like that train of thought too.
Yeah.
One time I saw Benjamin Bratt and Julia Roberts walking around in that private garden in Gramercy.
She lived in Gramercy, so she had a key. Mm-hmm. She has absolutely zero business looking as good as she looks right now.
She looks fantastic. She always looks fantastic.
I would argue she looks better than ever.
I'm with you. She's always been beautiful. I think she looks even better.
Unbelievable. And the hair color is through the roof. And I don't know who's doing what, but I want all their phone numbers.
She's going to be a big star one day.
I think she is. I would watch this space. I think
something's going to happen.
Something's
with her.
Headed there for her. There's something there for her. Yeah. Is there more to excavate here? I mean, it's a lascivious tale on its surface.
Yes.
But ultimately what it is there something there or not? And if there is, then better to not start on an uneven foot.
And I'll also say this. Things that seem so crucially dramatic in your early 30s, which is not necessarily very young, but it's young, feel very different 10 years later. So Gennaro and Tony probably think this is less of a big deal than you do. Maybe you're enjoying a little bit of this, but I would first decide whether or not you like Gennaro.
I do think there's some enjoyment going on here. Whoops, I'm the twink caught in the middle.
Two brothers. Yeah.
But I also do think Tony, it was not cool of Tony to step out with someone Gennaro had been with if Gennaro had feelings for them. But
correcto.
Again, these guys are 37, 42. I mean, come on. Mm-hmm. Either there's hope for a relationship here or not. I honestly, I'll be honest with you, I don't have high hopes for this relationship anyway.
No, me neither. I don't think you even like him that much.
I don't think there's anything much there.
Yeah.
Just a little sexy time. And if that's the case, then that's fine. But then if that's all it is, you don't have to tell anybody anything. Mm-hmm. I don't think. Let them talk about it.
Yep.
And if he ever says to you point blank, did you sleep with my brother? You should say yes.
Yeah.
Actually, I did.
I don't think he's even going to care.
For the record, you're better in the sack than he is.
You tell them each.
That'll end that question.
It's true. Actually, you're right. That will.
Honestly, you're better in the sack.
I thought our advice was very grounded, Ronna.
Of course it was. It always is. Yeah, it always was.
I think we said, listen, if it's really worth it, give it a whirl.
Did we ever get a follow-up from this guy? Because I absolutely need one if we didn't.
I don't think we did. Yeah.
And I just wanted to add one more addendum.
Go ahead, Ronna.
Because during this, we talk about the fact that you saw Benjamin Bratt and Julia Roberts in Gramercy.
Yeah.
And, and that she has no business. I said she's no business looking that good right now, blah, blah, blah. But the thing that I wanted to add was that I believe I mentioned the fact that I used to love going to Danny Meyer's Maialino in the Gramercy Hotel.
Sure, yeah.
But that it closed.
It's closed.
But apparently it reopened.
Where?
Maialino reopened. So
I wonder where.
I think.
Well, there we go. We got to go, Ronna.
In a new space.
Good for that.
So the problem with that, of course, is that I loved that underground. I just loved that underground space.
Sure.
So they opened a new one, though, that I haven't been to yet when we're in New York, called Maialino Vicino, which means sort of like nearby.
Yeah, fun.
My point was it's a PSA that Maialino opened again, and I'm just hoping they still have breakfast and they still have those delicious eggs.
Wonderful.
They did sort of a fire sale when the Gramercy Park Hotel closed.
Did they? I wish I could have gone.
You could buy
some nice stuff there.
You could buy an ashtray or this or that, all of that. Anyway, that's my story.
I loved it. Now, this next one is from Patreon 125, and it might have my number one favorite title of all time. We called this one, or I should say maybe Tony called this one, Put That Big Fat Bird Feeder in My Pigeonhole. I mean, that's poetry.
Oh, God.
Poetry. So in case you don't remember, there was a woman totally miserable in love in her 20s. I think you thought maybe she was Scandinavian. She recently came. I think you thought she was Scandinavian.
I'm a loud sneezer.
You're a cute sneezer. She recently came out as bisexual.
Excuse me.
You are a cute sneezer.
Am I?
Yes.
I don't think so.
You are.
I don't think so. I think I'm a loud sneezer.
You sound like a little doll.
Where's the American Girl Ronna doll?
That's what I want. There's got to be an American Girl doll who has it all under control
and is wearing leopard and has a cape over her shoulder.
And she's just waiting to get to the age that she deserves.
And she's definitely hailing a taxi. That's her thing.
For sure.
Yeah.
So this woman who's possibly Scandinavian, she came out as bisexual. She began seeing a man that she met through a friend, and she wanted it to just be fun and physical since she also wanted to explore being with women. Yeah. But the guy had some real red flags. And so she was like, I don't know that this is right. But now she craves him, Ronna. She's in love with him, and she knows it won't work, but she doesn't know what to do. Okay.
Oh, I remember
also, there was no
this.
punctuation in this letter.
Yes, I remember. Well, this was like, again, I'll bring up that goddamn parking lot letter that girl sent to us.
Yes.
Remember? Oh, I'll never forgive.
I think you also said this letter was probably written in the Notes app. You said something like that.
Yes, that's what these people do. Yeah. Anyway, without further ado.
Please.
Dear Ronna and Bryan, no comma. This person's desperate. They got right into the letter.
Right into it.
I'm going to keep this short only because I crave your approval. Also, no punctuation. Parentheticals, no punctuation.
This might be a hostage situation.
It reads that way.
Yeah.
I think they texted this to, you know what this is? This is a person, and they're going to correct me if I'm wrong. They wrote this in notes, and then they cut and pasted it into an email.
Definitely.
So I'm going to need to know. I'm a 26-year-old woman from a small European country. I've been single for 2 years, and I'll tell you something. The English is good enough in this that this is a Scandi person, so they're going to let us know if that's true or not.
Oh, I bet you're right.
I've been single for 2 years after I ended a 3-year relationship with a man that was codependent, unhealthy, and just stupid. Well, okay, fine. You're 26. What do you expect? I mean,
yeah, that's about what you get.
That's from 21 to 24.
Package deal.
That's called a relationship. I don't need any adjectives after that. Codependent, unhealthy, stupid. That's called 21 to 24.
Right.
And it's not stupid. It just is.
Yeah, it just is. That's everyone at that age. Doesn't matter.
Tell me you're doing that at 41. Then we can have a conversation.
Ooh.
Chill down your spine. Yeah. The room just got 10 degrees colder. During this time, I've enjoyed being single and have been dating and sleeping with, a lot of people. I finally came out of the closet as bisexual and have been enjoying new experiences with women, ! How wonderful for you. One of my suitors, a man, I met through our mutual best friend. Our. Okay. Who's our? Who's the other person?
The person, right.
Someone
you slept with?
Someone who's following this.
Okay.
Yeah, the person coming up. We enjoy spending time together. Oh, I see. One of my suitors, a man, I met through our mutual best friend. She and the man have a mutual best friend.
Oh, I see.
We enjoy spending time together from time to time and have become decent friends. We mutually agreed that we were just friends with benefits, and I really liked the idea of that since I was not ready for another stupid relationship. Stupid's in parenthetical. I'm just not ready to end my single days, and I really want to explore my relationship with women further. Great. Who's stopping you? In the time I've known this guy, I've noticed some red flags. Even better. Mm-hmm. Welcome to 26. Mm-hmm. First of all, he constantly goes.
At 26, that means you're going to sign right up for a couple more years of this.
Well, let's see. She's already on this carousel, so let's see. First of all, he constantly ghosts me. Okay. Well, you just said yourself that you agreed you're going to be just friends with benefits. So let's see here. He doesn't return my messages. And it's like he falls off the earth for a couple of days and then pops up again when he feels like it. Sure. He talks over me and has big trouble with actual listening. Big trouble's fun. That's fun. That's the first indication that this person is not a native English speaker, but that's fun, isn't it?
Causes big trouble. Yeah.
Big trouble. He has big trouble instead of a lot of trouble.
Totally. See you in Helsinki for an architecture tour.
This is so cute. Yeah, I love that. Big trouble with actually listening to what I have to say. On the other hand, he seems to think of me. By the way, her English is better than everyone else that writes to us, and they were born in America.
And before everyone screams at me, I know that Finland isn't in Scandinavia, so just stop it.
Is that true?
I think it is.
Oh, I don't think it is.
Oh, let me see.
Better look it up. I believe Scandinavia is Sweden, Norway, and Finland.
And what about Denmark?
And Denmark, of course. But they're sort of, across the ocean.
No, it is not in Scandinavia.
Are they considered Slavs, not Finns? Is that not Scandis? Is that
they're not Scandis. Scandi is Norway, Sweden, Denmark. The term Norden includes Finland and Iceland, but it is not part of Scandinavia.
Iceland not considered Scandinavian.
No, it isn't. And also, I guess it just is sort of accepted that people just consider Finland Scandinavia now. Like they don't correct you anymore.
Well, what is the differentiation though?
Finland's part of the Nordic region.
Actually mean?
Finland's part of the Nordic region, but not the Scandinavian region.
But
linguistically, Finland falls in a particular category.
Yes, their language is strange, like Hungarian.
And it's unrelated to any Scandi language.
Yeah.
And it's even Indo-European.
Yes.
Oh, no, it's unrelated to you. So it's unrelated to Scandi and Indo-European.
Yes, like Hungary, they have the same problem.
Correct.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Well, he talks over her in either Finnish or in some other language and has trouble with actually listening to what I have to say. Okay, sure. He's a 26-year-old man. On the other hand, he seems to think of me as a therapist and often dumps his problems on me, especially when he's having
a client
trouble
who ghosts you. Wonderful.
with his ex that he has a son with. Okay. I could go on, but you get the idea. He's just another man in his 20s that hasn't grown up yet. Sure. All of these red flags I ignored because I just saw him as a friend that I occasionally hooked up with. Okay. However, recently something shifted. I found myself craving his attention and was constantly thinking about him. At first, I put some distance between us, not wanting to fall down some path that I couldn't reverse. But of course, I couldn't hold myself to it and slept with him again. We spent all evening and night together. He never usually stays over. And ... I love him.
That was so rude. I'm so sorry.
My God, what a reaction.
I'm so sorry. That was awful. I couldn't control it. I'm sorry. That was really rude. I am sorry to the writer. That was rude. I'm sorry.
It just popped into my head out of the blue. Now I'm heartbroken. I know this will absolutely never work, and I effing hate myself, she says, Fucking, hate myself for falling for some mediocre man that doesn't even treat me that well. Well, put a shtetl pin in that.
Yeah.
I told him that I wanted to stop sleeping together and to just be friends for a while. The reason I gave him is that I'm dating a woman and I want to see where that relationship goes. Which is partly true, spelled like a chili witch.
Witch.
Vitch is partly true. I can't recommend the Vitch enough for people.
By the way, The Vitch is an incredible movie.
Yeah. Still, I left it open-ended with possibly that we could start seeing each other again in the future because I'm only human. I've seen him a few of times since, and I hate it. Every time I see him, I remember that I love him, and it breaks my heart. What do I even do in this situation? I feel like I can't talk to my best friend about this because I don't want to put her in an awkward situation between us. Also, I'm ashamed that I feel this way. Do I tell him? Do I just ignore this and hope the feeling goes away? Thank you for your advice, and please don't use my name. Best, miserable in love.
First of all, this is going to sound cruel. You're stupid too. You're also at an age where you're stupid. You just are. And that's fun. Like, this is when you get to make bad decisions, is this time in your life.
Yeah.
I will guarantee you that a guy who ghosts you and makes you feel like he's like playing by the pickup artist rules, who's in his 20s and has children and doesn't seem to be looking for anything serious is not the guy for you, is my hunch. I think that probably the more you go with this, the more hurt you'll be. But I also think, maybe it's because you're in love, but I would be totally fine if you kept seeing this guy as friends with benefits. No problem. But you're going to get hurt by this, but also you're young. So be stupid if you want. I mean, this is the time to make really bad decisions so you don't make them again later.
I agree with absolutely everything you said.
Thanks,
I have
Ronna.
a couple of ancillary thoughts.
Okay.
One of them is, I don't know if anyone's ever written a book about this. I don't know what the idea is. I don't know how you're supposed to do it. But probably if any person who is 10 years older than you and above could go back, they would try to find a way. And there are people who in their 20s are good at this, would try and find a way to not imbue everything with meaning, to just enjoy this time in your life when you will be single, instead of worrying about when you won't be single, which is what people spend their 20s worrying about. When will I not be single anymore? When will I not be single anymore? You won't be when you want. Okay? That's my Yoda answer to that question. You just won't be when you're not. Okay? And history tells us that people end up pairing off with people and having babies. That's why you're sitting here. Okay? So it happens for a lot of people that they end up with someone, whether they stay with that person or not. Those are questions for your 30s that I'm not going to worry about right now. But looking back on that time in my own life, if I could just say, oh, none of this matters. Follow it, don't follow it. Follow the white rabbit, don't follow the white rabbit. Follow the white rabbit till every nerve ending in your body says, shouldn't be doing this. Don't know that you're in love with this guy, but you have certain uncontrollable feelings about him. You are infatuated with him. And you like the way it feels to be with him. You are definitely attracted to him, obviously. And you're wondering if there's some other way forward.
And the way that he ghosts you is, I think, in your head, making him seem mysterious instead of a jerk.
Well, I don't actually think he's a jerk. I think that what you've communicated, maybe he is, but based on the evidence that we have, what you've communicated to us. Now, I'm not exactly sure how to express this, but it's an important thought, I think. Okay. You'll tell me if it is or it isn't.
No, I'm sure it is.
Might not be. Might not make a lick of sense. Might be gobbledygook coming up. You have tried to set a boundary with him. But at the same time, you're hoping desperately that he's going to cross that boundary. So you have said to him, I'm not going to just date you. I'm dating women too. And he said, okay. You gave him information and he took it at face value, the information that you took him. Okay, so she's dating women. She's doing this. She's doing that. Doesn't sound like she wants to be serious. I don't know whether he's looking for somebody serious or he's not looking for somebody serious. I just know that he likes sleeping with you because he keeps doing it. So, and spending that time with you. But you have over and over set a boundary for him, a sort of artificial boundary. And then you're desperately Wuthering Heights clutching your chest, hoping he's going to cross that boundary. What you haven't done, and I'm not sure it's a great idea, but as Bryan said, who actually cares? You're 26 years old, so either do it or don't do it. Works out, it doesn't work out. You've never said to him, would you want to go on a date? Not, I'm desperately in love with you now. I don't know what to do. Should I know you're allergic to dogs. Should I get rid of my dog?
By the way, totally.
But what you could say to him is, I wondered if I could take you to dinner or something. Mm-hmm. And he might take that, he should take that to mean, oh, okay. Or he might say, I'll be honest with you. I don't really want to have dinner with you, but I'd be happy to come over and destroy you for 3 hours if that's interesting to you. And then you have a decision to make.
Totally. I actually think,
but you're actually giving him mixed signals. You're telling him, I'm only interested in women. Don't try to get me to date only men. I'm interested in women and men. I am 26. I was in a dumb, stupid, codependent relationship. I get to sleep with everybody. What do you mean you're not in love with me? Well, you just told me 7,000 ways that you're not available. I have a child. I am interested, if I'm going to get into a relationship after already being in a failed relationship, I hope that it would be a stable one. And this doesn't sound like a real stable foundation, but I'll be happy to come over and check the oil if you're interested in that.
Yeah. You're right. You haven't said.
Also, you may not be a good choice for him, to be honest. playing the field, running around. I'm in, I'm out. Girls, boys.
By the way, going on a date with someone who you've been sleeping with, which I've done in the past.
Great way to never sleep with them again.
Pretty eye-opening. Yep.
Great way to never sleep with them again.
There's a lot you can find out. How do they treat a waiter?
Yep.
How do they tip? What are their conversation skills? What are their I'm sure you have talks in the bedroom. It is a very different story when you're on a date. And that could squash this whole thing. So do not confess your love to him because then all of a sudden you're at TGI Fridays and he's ordering pink applesauce and you're absolutely disgusted watching him eat it.
Do they serve it?
They used to. It used to be my favorite thing, Ronna, when I was a kid.
Pink applesauce. Yeah. Here's the gobbledygook part. Sweetheart, you're playing by some old rules and some new rules. So get your rules straight, okay? You're doing the thing where you are attached to the idea of male-female Disney romantic love between, in a heteronormative, the man will come in here and either steal me away or something will happen and I won't be able to stop him from beating the door down. That's one version.
Wuthering Heights is the least romantic.
Yeah, if you want to
god-awful relationship.
It's absolutely the worst, most upsetting, abusive, terrible.
Completely.
Dark, horrible, nothing romantic about it. Except two cuckoo, crazy
people.
Assholes. That's what that is.
Who think they deserve the worst.
And destroy everyone else's lives around them.
I really actually hate that
Disgusting. It makes me so mad when people refer to it. But that's what this girl is doing.
Also that there's no sexy way to say Heathcliff.
Yeah, well, with a northern accent too, because it takes place on the moors. So it's Heathcliff or what, whatever.
Nothing sexy about that.
What about Marmaduke? Is there a sexy way to say Marmaduke?
Very sexy. You talking about the dog?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, Marmaduke.
What about Clifford?
Oh,
the big red dog.
Oh yeah, very sexy.
In any event, that's one set of rules. Yeah, other set of rules is, hi, I have pink hair. I get to sleep with whoever I want. Stop telling me what I am. I'm bisexual. It's no one's business. I came out, except it's everybody's business because I just told them. So don't stop putting me in a pigeonhole. Well, you're going to have to reconcile those things. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying those things can't live next to each other, but get your rules straight.
But you know what you could say to him that would be sexy? I want you to take that big, fat bird feeder and put it in my pigeonhole. Are you frozen?
Yeah, I am frozen in my own path is where I am and asking myself, how did I get to this moment in life where this is what's happening? Darling, let us know what happens. Get your rules straight. Get the whole thing straight. And if you want it to go away, you want your desperate, gasping, not being able to breathe around him thing to go away. Go watch him eat some potato salad at a restaurant.
Ronna, we actually called this guy stupid.
Are we allowed to do that?
I don't know.
Is that a thing?
I don't know. But we also said the letter writer was stupid. I mean, we doubled down.
It's a stupid age.
It sort of is.
I mean, this is, of course what this did, this was one of those letters that made me think about Wuthering Heights, which makes me so mad.
We share that.
About.
We share that.
I know that, which I couldn't,
it is
so
the most
mad.
Toxic,
nonsensical,
just driving.
Cold.
I hate it.
Yeah. Bad weather.
I hate that story. I only like the Kate Bush song, but I hate that novel.
Yeah. I stand by our advice once again. We'll take a follow-up. We'll always take a follow-up. I'd love another follow-up. I need more. Yeah. I want to follow. Let me just have a blanket statement here. I want to follow up on everything. If it's worthy of a follow-up.
If it's worthy.
Because Naomi's going to get upset that I said that. She doesn't want to follow up on anything.
And she put in so much work on the style guide 2.0, Ronna.
She did. Probably took her about 4 minutes.
I know.
That's because she's very
brilliant. Yeah.
She is actually. But what I want to say is just because you send us a follow-up, I do want to remind people we're under no obligation to share it with the audience.
Absolutely not. This is for our benefit.
Yeah.
And by the way, this also shows how committed we are to these questions because we remain curious about them.
It's so cute. It's so true. So true. This is from Patreon 147. Not everything has to be Muppets Take Manhattan.
Oh, yes. This has become a whack packer in my mind.
This guy, we were dead wrong about him.
So wrong.
We were
It
right,
wasn't really our fault. We were,
But he misled my shtetl. Somehow he
left us a little
clouded my
snookered.
shtetl.
Yeah.
Because when he wrote back to us and told us what he actually does, we thought he was foreign. I described him as the kind of person who shakes their sugar vehemently with panache in the
That's right. I think we said he's the kind of person who just whips it out and pees right outside the pub.
He says he's not European.
No.
B, he takes his coffee black, or he doesn't drink coffee. I don't remember which it was. And C, he was a dog walker.
He looks cute at a desk. Yes,
I thought he lived in Brooklyn, and it turned out he lived in Los Angeles. So I don't know anything anymore, but I do know
misled.
That my advice was right.
Always is, baby.
That's what I know.
And we got heated. I mean, we really did. And then we fell in love with them.
And then people in the carriage house got mad. This is the kind of rigorous debate you can expect in the carriage house. People are on your side, and then boy, will they turn if we do one too many follow-ups with you.
They don't like it.
And I'll tell you, they don't like it. And I'll tell you what, I don't like it. When people start using me as their personal advice ATM.
Yeah, that's not appropriate. That's not
Anyway, let's get into this one.
Dear Ronna and Bryan, and if applicable, magnanimous guest.
Okay.
I'm a 35-year-old cis-het man, ostensibly straight and unforgivably white.
Oh, of course. Ostensibly. This drove me crazy. Go on.
I am an outspoken evangelist.
You tell me.
I am exactly. What do we know? You have to tell us.
Ostensibly.
I am an outspoken evangelist for your show and have an unspeakable, unrelenting crush on you. But I remember this letter now.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Okay.
I don't.
Here we go.
So I'm excited. Yeah.
Oh, I do. No, it's a good one. It's a good one. It took us on a ride, I remember. And an unspeakable, unrelenting crush on you both. Binging the Patreon backlog as a relatively new chip has been an indelible source of joy and warmth during these darkly foreboding times.
Wow.
Ooh. To get straight to the point. Did you ever go to Club 33? You have, haven't you?
Of course. Why do you ask?
Because I was just thinking of Pirates of the Caribbean. Isn't it kind of close to that ride?
Oh, yes, it is. Have you ever been to Club 33?
Never.
Yeah. Yes, it is quite near there.
Okay.
Well, maybe we'll go sometime. Do you want to go? Is that your thing?
Why not?
Do you just want to go because people can't go, or do you want to go because you want to go?
Both?
Sounds like the former, not the latter. Go on.
To get straight to the point.
When I went to Club 33 last time I was there, I ran into Andy Garcia. And I have to say.
You have told me this, yes.
He was as charming. I mean, he could talk your ear off.
I bet.
But he was as charming and as sweet as I remembered him to be.
From another time?
Oh, sure. I know Andy.
Oh.
Andy and I go way back. Andy's very close with Paul and Laurie Feig.
Okay,
and
sure.
So that's where I initially met Andy.
He's very.
Was at their home in Los Angeles.
Wow.
And he's absolutely terrific. Yeah.
Oscar nominee. So handsome.
Easy on the eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To get straight to the point, nearly 6 years ago, at the critical age of 29, the
great
way in which
taste in glasses. Always has a great pair of specs.
Great tasting glasses?
Great
you
specs.
tasted his glasses? Oh, great taste in. I really was confused.
If I had tasted anything of Andy Garcia's, you'd be the first to know.
Thank you very much, Ronna. I want to know all about it.
Yeah.
At the critical age of 29, the way in which I blew up my life and collapsed in on myself manifested as a love letter to a close.
Okay.
Yeah. Remember this one?
Here we are.
This is the journey to a close.
Here's my dog bed. I need to lay down.
Yep. We go get that Laura P on a cashmere throw you just got wrong.
Put me under the throw
up under
so that I can relax and listen to the rest of this letter. And I want to answer it from a prone position on my couch.
Absolutely. You got to tell Mr. Cleveland to turn that British Bake Off on and get that blanket ready.
Yeah.
We had been friends for nearly 5 years, and while it hadn't been written with any expectation of reciprocation, it was still, in all obvious ways, a dramatic breach of conduct. I handed her the letter after a day spent together, stammering and read.
Did you miss a paragraph?
No. To get straight to the point, nearly 6 years ago at the critical age of 29, the way in which I blew up my life and collapsed in on myself manifested as a love letter to a close married friend of mine.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I took some pauses in there. We had been friends for nearly 5 years, and while it hadn't been written with any expectation of reciprocation, it was still, in all obvious ways, a dramatic breach of conduct. I handed her the letter after the day spent together.
Breach of conduct. He was wearing gloves when he handed it to her.
Seriously. Full Carmen Sandiego.
There's nothing ostensible about your heterosexuality. The only thing that's not ostensible at the moment is your narcissism. But let's go.
I was going to say the narcissist, the kind of narcissism that's like, I'm going to say I'm gay just so guys will be attracted to me. That. You know what I mean?
No, it's just called narcissism.
That's what I mean.
Anybody who wants to worship at this altar is welcome.
Correct.
I'll take a free blowjob from a person that can't resist me.
That's right. That's right.
That's called narcissism. That's not called bisexuality.
No.
Yeah.
We had been friends for nearly 5 years, and while it hadn't been...
I happened to be laying by this pond, looking at my own reflection, and somebody sneaks up behind me and gives me a blowjob because they can't resist. What can I do?
Yeah, what can you do? We had been friends for nearly 5 years, and while it hadn't been written in all obvious ways, it was a dramatic breach of conduct. I handed her the letter after a day spent together, stammering and red and soaked with sweat. And later in the day, she responded through a text. I love you too. A bizarre week of violently casual, everything is normal texting followed before we could see each other again. And in that time,
is there a chance this person is British? Just keep an eye out for some spelling while you're reading. Okay.
Of course I will. At the time I broke up, and in that time I broke up out of shame with the genuinely lovely girl I'd been dating, lost sleep, and trembled with confusion. When we did eventually get together, she forced the conversation, and I cried in front of her about my pathetic heart. She didn't speak much, and the next day she flew across the country to be with her husband who'd been away for work.
What?
I do not know.
Flew across the country to meet her husband who'd been away for work.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
She forced the conversation. The one you started. I do not know what I wanted to happen. I still to this day am not entirely sure. It felt at the time like something within me too big and true not to speak out into the world. Was she the only person who hadn't told you yet? Is that why you needed this? Bigger and truer than anything I'd felt for anyone before. To say nothing felt like a lie. To say nothing felt like a lie through omission, but I had no hope for any particular outcome. In fact, I knew with great certainty, and even said as much to her at the time, that if something were to happen between us, it would have been an absolute disaster. With her years into a marriage and me tossing about in the tumultuous seas of emotional immaturity and a serious case of arrested development.
This person is British. Stammering and tossing about. Those are both Britishisms.
You're right.
This person's either British or spent
an Anglophile,
time there and wishes
or just
they
like
were.
is obsessed
yes,
with
exactly.
it. Yes.
Yeah.
All this to say, after a weird summer and many heavy make or break conversations, our friendship settled, eventually strengthened, and maintains to this day. You're the one who tried to blow up the friendship, dude. Which brings me to my question. In March of this year,
give him a break. It's a matter of fact.
I know. I have to be honest. I am being hard on this person. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, he's a straight guy, ostensibly.
I guess my hackles are.
Yeah.
Which brings me to my question. In March of this year, she and her husband filed for divorce. It's been a relatively easy process.
March is a great month to file for divorce.
I sort of agree with you because it's
nothing happens
right
in
before
March.
a fun beginning. It's right before a spring.
March is a great month to get all kinds of things you really have been putting off that you don't want to do out of the way.
I don't disagree with that.
Because nothing happens in March, and you don't have anything else to do in March except March madness if you're that sort of a person. And if you are, you've got nothing to do with me anyway. Unless you're Charles Barkley, who you know I love.
I'll be honest with you, Ronna. I love him too.
Charles Barkley was the only person that defended the Jews the other week.
Really?
He said, what's wrong with Adam Silver? Why doesn't he throw Kyrie Irving right out of there? How dare he speak like that? And he was right.
Charles Barkley's a great person. And also
Charles Barkley and I should absolutely host a show or a road trip show together or something.
Well, then where would I be?
Well, you could be there too, but people would have to watch him chase me around the kitchen table all the time. Yes, because he wouldn't be able to resist me.
He's so fabulous. I do love him.
Yeah, he's fun.
I mean, that's really the power of a star, to transcend. Like, I don't care about NBA people. I care about him.
Yeah, he's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In March of this year, she and her husband filed for divorce. It's been a relatively easy process. She instigated and he moved out with no argument. But the process is still difficult in all the unavoidable ways and frustrating in some ways specific to his character.
This person better send us a copy of their self-published novel before I drive myself right into the Charles River.
Without placing, I bet on Hinge his thing says, I consider myself a wit. Without placing too much of a value judgment on him or their marriage.
What?
He was a big fat turd that none of us liked, and good riddance.
That's
but
very
wait,
funny.
My question that is funny. Yeah. She's decided to move to another city, Nashville specifically, to pursue music with her brother.
Oh,
she's invited me to
forget about it now.
Yeah, that's it. She's invited me to move with them. Is she Billie Eilish?
She decided to move to an iceberg.
Right.
And with her brother, who's a penguin, and she invited me to come with her.
She's inviting me to move with them, but it doesn't feel quite right. I've told her she looked me in the eye, told me she needed me to join her, and I believed her that I would drop everything and move.
My gosh.
She performatively looked me in the eye and tried.
Who's performative? Who's performative?
That's right.
Who's performative?
All the way. She performative looked me in the eye and tried, but I didn't believe her. And don't think I was meant to.
I didn't like the answer that I got. So.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I didn't want her to say that she
had said I was moving to Paris, he would have been on the first plane. But instead she said Nashville. And he said, I don't think you actually mean
So
it.
far, he's like, I told this girl I loved her because I figured she'd never tell me she did. And then she did that I didn't talk to her. And
the whole place takes drenched in the rain. The whole thing takes place drenched.
Oh, it's the end of the affair for sure.
Yeah, they can't get into the building and the door's locked and they're both just drenched in rain.
Completely.
Yeah.
Anyway, truly my question. How can I help support her? What are the ways I can be there for her? Leave her alone? What are the ways I can be there? You're absolutely ruining her. What are the ways I can be there for her and help her that I'm completely wretchedly ignorant of? And perhaps more importantly, what are the things I shouldn't be doing or saying that I haven't considered? Even the most obvious one.
Like getting over yourself?
I am, again, exactly a straight white male and tremendously pig-headed as a result. Just because you pointed out doesn't absolve you of it. It is important to me that I am a true and unassuming friend to her when she needs it from me. I already feel great shame for arrogantly throwing.
You don't know how to be that.
You don't.
Get out of here.
Leave her alone.
What's a true and what is a true and what does it mean? What does any of it mean?
I don't know.
Brian,
this is like
would you
Ernest
say
Hemingway.
I'm a true and unassuming friend.
I don't know what that means. I would say you're a true friend and that you are a
But am I unassuming
friend.
when I do it?
What the fuck does that mean?
I know what it means. This
Just
person should
naive?
have been an actor, not a writer. No, this person is absolutely enamored of the way.
This is like with Nail and I, honestly. This is him.
Yes, it is. When this person shakes the sugar packet to put it into their coffee at the coffee shop, they love the way they look doing it. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I do understand what you're saying. That's
Life
pretty dead
is
on.
a performance for this artist.
Yes, for sure.
Go on.
I already feel great shame for arrogantly throwing that grenade of a letter into her life and forcing her to address and tend to my feelings, for fitting so neatly into the stereotype of male friend looking around a female friend in hopes they will become romantically involved. Well, she said she wanted to. So then what? I am terrified.
Said you could move to Nashville with her, and you said, "Oh, not Nashville."
Yeah.
You said, I am terrified. I sort of pictured Rome. Was what you said when she said, "I'm moving to Nashville."
And I also sort of pictured her us
you
beating
said,
the shit out of each other every night.
Coat in Rome, but I couldn't wear it in Nashville.
Right.
So do you think we want to rewrite this so that it's my version of our story, not your version of our story?
I wanted to do all of this and take her to Rome and then every night come home with lipstick on my collar. That was sort of what I had envisioned for this life.
Fun.
I am terrified of rendering the entire friendship fraudulent due to my own emotional ineptitude and potential blind spots. I do not want to be the guy waiting in the wings. You don't want to be in the wings. I do not want to offer any insidiously coercive advice. There we go. ADVISE. And I do not want to, And I do not, good job, Ronna. And I do not want to make her skeptical of me as a friend and resource. I cannot deny that I'm in love with her, but more importantly, I simply love her and want her to be happy. And you also want her to be in love with you. That she made that clear. Romantic inclinations and even some suspicions aside, I want only to do right by her and have no interest in making a romantic relationship fit that isn't meant to. I said, but you know what? We've given this advice before. The problem is it could happen. And isn't that boring? I suppose now I'm unsure if there's even a question here. Did I just want to tell you both that I've been in love with my friend for 10 years and now she's moving away and I'm feeling effed up in the head about it? Maybe. But do I want to hear you say mean things to me about wasting your time with an overlong letter and needing to get over myself? Very yes. Thank you for all you do, say and provide.
Congratulations.
Andrew. Well, you've done it. You've done it. I have to say, you're the one
but
thing.
Also, they tricked us into talking about them. That's what happened. They're winning.
They got
any way you look at it, they're winning because they tricked us.
Yeah, they don't care.
Into despising them.
Totally.
And by despising them was sort of still pointing out what's incredible about them. That's how they feel.
I got to say, the one thing I like about you is that you listen to this podcast. That is the one thing.
And that is your redeeming quality. I do too, and I was wondering about that.
Me too. To me, that's
got to be something to this person.
A big contrast to what we're dealing with now. But
I also think it's fun that at the end you said, "I don't care. You can tell me I'm a schmuck. It's fine."
Mm-hmm.
Because on some level that this is absolute nonsense.
Leave her alone. Leave that poor woman alone, who, by the way, is getting a divorce, who told you she loves you, asked you to move with her, and you're saying, "How will this ever work?" Well, the truth is, it could. You don't want it to.
Watch out.
Why wouldn't it? Boring.
Well, it's not going to work anyway. And what do you mean you want to be a friend to her? What were the words? An unassuming. And I don't want to be fraudulent. Let me tell you
Leave
something.
Her alone.
Read me the fraudulent sentence again, because I'm going to read it back to you.
You got it.
Okay.
I am terrified of rendering the entire friendship fraudulent due to my own emotional ineptitude and potential blind spots.
Okay. So, by the way, you're terrified? Just lose terrified from that sentence. Okay? More
Brady.
like, I am rendering the friendship fraudulent. Just read it to me that way.
Okay. I am rendering the entire friendship fraudulent due to my own emotional ineptitude and potential blind spots.
There's your advice.
There you go. The answer to your question's in your question. Leave her alone.
Stop driving everyone crazy just because you can't finish your screenplay or your novel, or you don't really want to be a writer, but you want to look like a writer, and you've got a little bit too much family money and you like wearing a sweater that has a hole in it, or whatever it is that you're doing, dear.
Yeah.
Do it if you're going to do it to anyone, do it to someone who's under 25. Would you please? So at least they have a chance to rebound.
To bounce back.
Don't do it to some woman who's divorced and might want a future with someone.
Yeah, lay off of
You're
her.
not a person to have a future with. No one can have a future with you till you're 50, until your balls start to drop.
You're like the Martin.
And that is the moment where you'll be ready to step into your humanity and meet somebody part of the way. I'm not going to say halfway, part of the way, and be a person around them. Instead of being serviced by people in your life and falling madly in love with people who are already taken by other people.
And when they were available, you didn't want them. Just face the truth of that. This
is not a
star-crossed lover situation.
You said, if you look me in the eye and you tell me you want me to come to Nashville, I'll move heaven and earth and I'll do it for you. And she said, if I believe, that's the most clever narcissistic caveat I've ever heard.
This guy's
believe you.
Yeah.
Unless she's some other kind of piece of work, other rat living in a trash can too, who's full of the same garbage he's full of. I mean, that's possible that they're in a little folly ado together. We're giving her a little too much credit, and she's telling him to come to Nashville, but she doesn't. Maybe that's part of it too. Is they're just running each other around.
That could be it, but I got to say, the reason you're upset she's moving to Nashville is because you will no longer be the center of her world. That's the thing you're upset about. Leave her alone.
You're going to lose a target. That's all. You need a new target.
Yeah, go find somebody else.
And I'm not saying that you don't have any kind of a friendship, or you don't have any kind of a connection, or you don't have any kind of I'm not saying there's nothing between you. But I'm saying that this is a lot of nonsense.
Yeah, go be Philip Seymour Hoffman and Talented Mr. Ripley. Go do that. Or do you think he's another character? I mean, he just seems like the kind of person who's just running around and lying to people.
No, he's actually Jude Law.
Jude Law. Yeah, I think you're right.
He's
stringing someone along.
He should be so lucky to be Jude Law. By the way, again, enjoy it until your licks are gone.
Yeah.
If this is how you get your jollies.
And then just get a table for one in Villa Blanca for the rest of your life.
She looked at you and she said, I want you to come to Nashville with me and my brother Phineas.
I want you to come with us.
And you said, no thanks.
It's not what I wanted to hear.
Because I don't really want to go to Nashville.
Yeah.
Listen to you. At the end of the day, okay, we've just razzed and
but I got to be honest with you, Ronna, it was fun. I mean, this was a fun letter.
Absolute blast. This was a gift. This letter was a gift.
It was
to
a
us.
gift.
It was an early Ronica gift for us.
For sure.
Assuming you are a good person, okay? Let's reapproach this for a second with the assumption.
Sure. This is the second round of the trial.
That you have a good heart and you're a broken person, okay? In all honesty, let's just approach this not just that you are some dilettante narcissist in a, that you've ruined the sweater patches on your Loro Piano, your Brunello Cucinelli.
But what is it about
which is my first supposition. But let's just assume that this person is just a little bit of treats people like playthings and wants to be a bit of a frustrated artist or likes to live an artful life and imagines themselves a bit of a tortured Casanova, blah, blah, blah. Okay. There are people who exist who, at the end of the day, the de facto result of their behavior feels exactly the same, but who have good hearts, feel genuine connection and human love and emotion, but who just are too stunted, traumatized, under-socialized, whatever you want to say, come from some kind of world where they can't connect or they can't do it or whatever.
There is something sympathetic about you wanting us to be hard on you. What is that? What is that coming from? Why did you need that? Or want it even? And I mean that as a sympathetic person, not as like, what's wrong with you? Yeah. I just mean it as like, what's going on there,
I agree. Let's assume you're a good person who doesn't know how to do things.
Sure.
You're a person who just steps in it a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. All of that is still to say, go back and read your own letter. If you were to take yourself out of the narrative, okay? And again, I'm afraid to sort of give this advice because I think the way this person will hear it is, oh my God, I didn't realize what an absolutely earth-shattering effect I was having on this woman. If I had any sense of chivalry or class whatsoever, I would take myself out of their lives. And I can't believe I didn't cut off communication with her sooner because how could I not have devastated her with my incredible, personality and good looks and all of these things. But if you were to really look at it objectively, and this person was actually a friend of yours, and you were not you were the third person in this conversation.
Right.
Wouldn't you say to yourself, what's this guy running her back and forth for? As her friend, I think it's wrong that this person, by the way, I don't mean to assume she has no agency over her own life. Again, she may be just as into this as he is. She probably very well is based on the way that they have gone back and forth and they've just found a sort of wicked attraction situation where, they're going to Bonnie and Clyde their way through everyone else's brunch and everyone's going to have to listen to what's happening with him and what's happening with her and how star-crossed they are. But the truth is they're getting a little too old to be star-crossed now.
Yeah.
And she's moving to Nashville to pursue her dream and all of this. But at the end of the day, all you're really doing is a little damage. And if you're a good person that cares about other people's feelings, by the way, including your own. I mean, the end of the real advice, which is the question that you're not asking us, is how do I become a person who's not afraid of intimacy and wants to live an authentic life? That's what you're really asking us. Instead of creating narratives that make me feel like I am living some kind of facsimile of an authentic life.
Right.
Is that right? Does that make any sense?
It does make sense, yeah. And it's a really nice perspective to have. I mean, it's like, you know.
Be honest with people.
Yeah.
You don't, just because
that is the root of it. That is the root
or
of it.
something is ordinary doesn't mean that it isn't also extraordinary. If you feel a connection with a person, it doesn't always have to be the train whistle is leaving the station, you know, and I was on the platform. Not everything has to be Casablanca.
Yeah. Or Muppets Take Manhattan when they disband and Piggy is doing the handkerchief from the train. 100%.
Not everything has to be Muppets Take Manhattan.
It doesn't. It just doesn't.
But you turn everything into Muppets Take Manhattan. And that's probably the thing to ask your therapist about. Why do I have to turn everything in my life into Muppets Take Manhattan?
Yeah.
Take Manhattan.
Yeah. I would legitimately.
That's the short answer to the question.
Yeah.
Why am I addicted to Muppets Take Manhattan? And if you haven't seen it, your assignment's to go read it right now.
Go immediately.
And if the end of your letter is I think the most honest, authentic part of the letter is at the end when you said, or you could tell me to get over myself and to have a little laugh. Because I don't think this person is without a sense of humor.
No, I don't need that. No, are you kidding? So much of this letter was hysterical. It was hysterically annoying, but it was fun. I mean, this person, I think.
And it's well written.
Had the fucking, was turning the screw a little bit, you know?
Oh, of course. They wanted to hear us go nutso.
Yeah.
They got their wish.
Ronna, I got to say, it still gives me a little bit of hives.
The whole thing.
Just the whole thing.
Yeah. Well,
but however, I have to remind myself that once we got to know him a little better, he was the loveliest.
Well, it was funny. After we got to know him a little bit, I liked him better than I liked her.
Absolutely. That is what we discovered, that we actually liked her better.
It was surprising. No, we didn't like, we thought we were on
we
her
liked
side,
him better.
And then
That's right.
ended up we were on his side.
Yep. And do you still love Charles Barkley, Ronna?
What was she making him want to move with her and her brother? What kind of BS was that?
Not cool.
Do I still love Charles Barkley?
Yeah. When we talked about this, we talked about our love for Charles Barkley. Do you still feel the same way?
The singing group? What were they called?
Gnarls Barkley?
That's the one.
Charles.
Sir Charles Barkley will forever and always be one of my favorite broadcasters of all time.
He's
actually
fabulous.
I'm both happy and sorry you brought that up, because here's how I'm going to close this episode, actually. And I didn't know I was, but I am.
Okay. Yes.
I'm going to close this episode with a Valentine's message to Tom Brady. Okay?
I'll take Charles Barkley over Tom Brady.
The idea of you and Charles Barkley.
I would love it. He'd make me laugh so much.
Chasing each other around a hotel room.
Oh my God. Do you know that legitimately sounds so fun?
For 4 days. You and Charles Barkley, where he keeps saying to you, I'm not gay. And you say, I know, the whole time. You two chasing each other around the hotel. No, all bets are off and everything happens. Yeah. But he keeps telling you during those 4 days, you know I'm not gay. And you say, I know. You keep saying, I know. I don't care. I don't mind.
I don't care. And no one's going to believe me anyway.
Chase each other around, the laughs you two would have.
I would die laughing with him. I really would.
I love Charles Barkley. I think Charles Barkley and I should have either a travel show or some kind of show together.
Definitely. I could see it.
But the reason Charles Barkley brings me to Tom Brady is the following. Charles Barkley is an athlete who was a very good athlete.
Well, yeah.
And is
elite.
But he is an exceptional broadcaster. As much as he was a terrific NBA.
Tom Brady or Charles Barkley?
Talking about Charles Barkley.
Yeah. Oh, just as good of it. I agree completely.
Better. He's actually better at this job than he was at that job.
Because he's like you watch him now and you're like, you are a superstar.
He is absolutely living his life the right way.
Completely.
And there were a few moments, all of these guys have a really hard time when they retire. They just
tough.
do. And they
because
never
it's very
do it
difficult
right.
to ask of someone. You have to not only be an exceptional athlete, you have to also have to be charming as hell.
Well, that's why only some of them are broadcasters.
It's very
and some
difficult.
of them aren't, and some of them are good at whatever. But my real point is that Charles Barkley, the real question is, what's the next chapter for these people when they have a life, their entire life has been this. It's what defines them. And then there is a day, the very next day, where, depending on your perspective,
you're retired in your 30s. Yeah.
You could be 24. You could be 45, like Tom Brady, whatever it is. Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time. Okay?
Sure.
It's undisputable.
Right.
He is.
Yeah.
The numbers, this, that. Everyone knows I have a soft spot for Tom Brady. Please,
I do. I've always known
don't bring up politics with me. I don't want to talk about it. What I want to talk about is this.
Performance.
I found his video. I don't know if you saw it. He did.
I just saw the headlines.
He saw a video. So he retired. The short version, everyone already knows. He retired last year, and then he told his wife he was going to retire, and he couldn't do it. And they all do this. They all say they're retired, and then they wake up the next day and say, "What am I supposed to do now?
What am I supposed to do?"
And I love this more than anything. And And then they all go crazy.
Yeah.
And then they ruin. They don't ruin their legacy because it happens to all of them. So it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, they all screw it up. So, and everyone loves
the
to
idea
spend
is you go out on top, but then they
and everyone loves to, like every TV show, they make another season when they shouldn't or whatever it is. Yeah. And they all get depressed about the fact that they should have gone out on top or they should have done it this way. They should have done it that way. It doesn't matter. They all do it wrong. So what's the difference? Why obsess over doing it right
it evens
when
out.
everyone does it wrong?
Right.
So the thing people remember you for is not what you did wrong. They just remember you for the career. But my point is this. So he did that. He had the whole announcement, He ends up he tells his wife he's going to retire. Then he says, "Gonna retire." And she says, "See you later." And he says, no, not see you later. And she says, "I told you. And I meant it."
She's pretty great.
Who knows what else goes on in their life together? But
Can
we
you
know
believe that, by the way, that she's made more money than he has?
Always, though. She always
Unbelievable.
made more money than him. Always.
I never knew that a model could get paid that much.
She's the most, well, you have to remember that she has the entire Latin American market also. She has all of South America. I mean,
That's true. Yeah.
She is undisputably the highest paid model of all time.
Ever.
Incredible. In any event, my point is this. I watched his little video last week, whenever it was that it came out, and it absolutely broke my heart because
tell me what the video was again.
Basically, they had the 80 for Brady premiere.
Right.
He obviously got back on a plane and went back to Miami that night. He went to the premiere and then he came back.
Right.
And he woke up. He looked like he had been up all night worrying. And he woke up and he just did a video. And he said, "I'm just going to do a video and I'm just going to say it. You only get one chance to make a big deal about retiring. I already did that last year. And I just want to say I'm retiring and I want to thank my family and my this and my that and whatever." And he first of all, he looks thin, exhausted.
This is his chance to eat more than tomatoes and he's not even taking it.
Broken-hearted. Well, he can't eat. He's heartbroken.
Right.
He lost the two loves of his life this year.
Right.
Football and his family.
Giselle. Yeah.
More than Giselle, his family unit.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure he loved Giselle deeply, but he was just doing what he was doing. And this is what happens to people sometimes. He just is America's divorced dad right now.
Yeah.
And
he really is.
It just stinks. And people look at him and say, "What do you feel bad for him for? He's worth $500 million. Da, 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 da." Here's why I feel bad for him. He doesn't care that fine, great. I'm happy for him. He's a big, rich white guy. Fine. But at the end of the day, he was just a divorced dad that didn't know how to stop. And
I can't believe they were able to make it for like 13 years or whatever it was.
So sad. He was so sad. And to those guys, when they retire, they think all the other stuff, the glitz, the glamour, the sports contract, the sponsorships, the this, the that, it only makes sense because I am a quarterback. Now I'm nothing. I'm nothing. I've been this other thing forever, and now I'm nothing. Mm-hmm. And it seems crazy to say that because you think you'd have a little perspective, but we've all had that moment. I think I certainly can relate to that, where you think, oh, I have no value.
Yep, of course.
And it was so sad. So this is my open invitation to Tom Brady. I've always said this. I've always said that the Patriots should hire me during the season. I don't want the job anymore, but I'm willing to do it freelance for certain people.
And that's like a life coach kind of situation?
I felt the same way when I'm like the team guidance counselor. They say, okay, go see Ronna. Okay, you're done with practice. You got to go see Ronna for half an hour. And they come in and I say, what are these shoes? Get rid of these shoes. Where are you living? They've got me in a townhouse in Framingham. Forget it. What's your budget? They give me all their budgets of this and that. I tell them, go live here. Go see this guy for a haircut. Stop yelling at your mother. Whatever the issues are that they're having trouble with, that they can't cope on the team and in the team environment,
they go right to Ronna.
I clean it up.
Yeah.
When Lamar Odom and Chloe had their big breakup back in the day, I said, boy, Lamar Odom could use a friend like me.
Poor Lamar. Yeah, that was tough.
If I had 3 weeks with Lamar Odom, he'd be doing fine right now. Yeah. This is an open letter to Tom Brady. He's in a very delicate moment right now. He'll be fine in a couple of months, but he's having a very tough low moment right now. And if he wants Aunt Ronna to come down and whip him into shape for a couple of weeks,
she's willing to.
I'll say, it starts tomorrow. I'll meet you at 8:30 for a cup of coffee. We're going to take a walk on the boardwalk, and we're going to figure it out. We're going to go get a coffee. We're going to take a walk.
Lovely offer.
And we're going to put one foot in front of the other. We're going to figure it out.
I only hope that he takes you up on it for real.
So that's on my lonely heart, sweetheart. This Valentine's Day is Tom Brady.
Sure.
And that's my open offer to him. And that is when I stopped my sports psychology / crisis PR firm.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Boy, that was boring. Should we cut that?
No, I'm sure people loved it. I'm sure, who did we talk about at the beginning, or was it on the Patreon? The cis hetero man?
Oh, yes. He probably did.
This one's for him. That was for him.
Andrew Nyman, that was for you.
That was for you.
Yeah.
This one's for you, Andrew Nyman.
Okay. Happy Valentine's Day.
Who's
everyone.
in the Super Bowl?
It already happened, dear.
Oh, yeah.
It happened during the Puppy Bowl.
That's
the Puppy Bowl's before the Super Bowl. It happened during the Love Bowl, our bowl.
Our bowl. That's right.
Yes.
So of course I didn't see.
The Lonely Hearts Bowl.
All right.
You know what it really is a bowl of conversation hearts. And I just want to say congratulations. We forgot to say this. To everyone who ordered the kits, they got our unique bespoke conversation cards.
Conversation hearts.
I don't think anyone else did a conversation heart this year that said fap, fap, fap.
They certainly didn't. They certainly didn't.
All right, dear. I adore you. You're my Valentine. Have a great time. I'll be home eating greasy, crunchy onion rings in my cashmere tonight.
I'll come back and I'll tell you all about it, Ronna. Don't you worry. I'll get in my little footy pajamas and get in bed with you.
I'll probably, when I hear the door open, pretend I'm asleep.
That's not very nice, Ronna.
Well, that's like about as much as I want to hear about it, you know. And I'll just go.
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah. All right, dear. Kiss, kiss. Happy Valentine's Day to all of our sweethearts.
Happy Valentine's Day, my Valentine, and to all of our sweethearts. That's right.